A bunch of the boys were whooping it up in the Malamute saloon. The kid that handled the music box was hitting a jag time tune. Back at the bar in her solo games, that dangerous Dan McGrew. And watching his luck was his light of love, the lady that's known as Lou. When out of the night which was 50 below, and into the din and the glare, there stumbled a miner, fresh from the creeks, dog dirty and loaded for bear. He looked like a man with a foot in the grave, and scarcely the strength of a louse. Yet he tilted a poke of dust on the bar, and called for drinks for the house. There was none could place the stranger's face, but we searched ourselves for a clue. But we drank to his health, and the last to drink was dangerous Dan McGrew. Now there's men that somehow just grip your eyes and hold them tight like a spell, and such was he. And he looked to me like a man who had lived in hell, with a face most hair, and the dreary stare of a dog whose day is done. As he watered the green stuff in his glass, and the drops fell one by one. Then I got to figuring who he was, and wondering what he'd do. Then I turned my head, and there watching him was a lady that's known as Lou. His eyes went rubbering around the room, and he seemed in a kind of daze. To the last that old piano fell in the way of his wandering gaze. The ragtime kid was having a drink. There was no one else on the stool. So the stranger stumbles across the room and flops down there, like a fool. In a buckskin shirt that was glazed with dirt he sat, and I saw him sway. And he clutched the keys with his talon-like hands. My God, but that man could play. Have you ever been out in the great alone when the moon was awful clear and the icy mountains hemmed you in a silence you most could hear? With only the howl of a timber wolf, and you camped there in the cold, a half-dead thing in a stark dead world, clean mad for the muck called gold. While high overhead, green, yellow, and red, the north lights swept in bars. Then you've a hunch what the music meant. Hunger, and night, and the stars. And hunger not of the belly kind that's banished with bacon and beans, but the gnawing hunger of lonely men for a home and all that it means. For a fireside, far from the cares that are, four walls on a roof above, but oh so crammed full of cozy joy, and crowned with a woman's love. A woman dearer than all the world, and true as heaven is true. God, how ghastly she looks through her rouge, the lady that's known as Lou. Then on a sudden the music changed, so soft you scarce could hear, but you felt your life had been looted clean of all that once held dear. That someone had stolen the woman you loved, that her love was a devil's lie, that your guts were gone, and the best thing for you to do was crawl away and die. 'Twas a crowning cry of a heart's despair, and thrilled you through and through. I guess I'll make it a spread misere, said dangerous Dan McGrew. The music almost fied away, and it burst forth like a pent-up flood, and it seemed to say, repay, repay, and my eyes were blind with blood. And the thought came of an ancient wrong, and it stung like a frozen lash, and the lust awoke to kill, and the music stopped with a crash. The stranger turned, and his eyes they burned in a most peculiar way. In a buckskin shirt that was glazed with dirt he sat, and I saw him sway. And his lips went in a kind of grin, and he spoke, and his voice was calm. And boys, says he, you don't know me, and none of you care a damn. But I want to state, my words are straight, and I'll bet my poke they're true, that one of you is a hound of hell, and that one is Dan McGrew. Then I ducked my head, and the lights went out, and two guns blazed in the dark. And a woman screamed, and the lights went up, and two men lay stiff and stark. Pitched on his head and pumped full of lead was dangerous Dan McGrew, while the man from the creeks lay clutched to the breast of the lady that's known as Lou. These are the simple facts of the case, and I guess I ought to know. They say that the stranger was crazed on hooch, and I'm not denying it's so. I'm not so wise as the lawyer guys, but strictly between us two. The woman that kissed him and pinched his poke was a lady that's known as Lou.